All right, you math masterminds of Mr. Moss's geometry class. Here we go, part 2 of 1.1. Taking notes here. It's going to ask us to do some drawing portions of them. And we're going to go ahead and go through that here. So let's read the instructions here. It says, lines A, B, and C, D intersect at point E for coordinates of, and it shows all the coordinates there on the coordinate plane. Point F is coplanar with these points, but not collinear with A, B, and C, D. So that means that point F does not lie on either line A, B, or C, D. So let's go ahead and draw that here. Let's go ahead and put our points for point A, which is at -2, 1, 2, and then up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, we label this as a capital letter. And then point B is at 0, -2, which is right here, and we'll label that one B. Okay, let's go ahead and draw a line between those two. Remember, arrows on both ends. Okay, now let's go ahead and draw the second point, which is C is at -3, 1, 2, 3, and at 0. And then D is at 3, 1, 2, 3, up 3, 1, 2, 3, and we'll label this one D, and this is C. And you should be doing this on your own at home as well. And we draw our two arrows on the end. Okay, now it says this point of intersection is called point E. Okay, and then it says point F is coplanar with points, which means it lies in the same plane but does not lie on these two lines. So we could randomly put F anywhere we want to. So let's go ahead and put it down here just for fun. Okay, and then it is not collinear because it does not lie on either one of those lines. Okay, and there you go. So if you have any questions about that, that's what we're talking about. So as we notice that all these points, okay, are labeled, and there we go. Okay, now question number 10. Let's go ahead and scroll down to that part. Again, it's going to ask you to draw a line that intersects plane T at point S. So this goes back again what we talked about in the first half when we have to draw a plane. So most times when you draw a plane, you're going to draw it like it's a parallelogram. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. And I'll do the best I can. Okay, and we're going to label this T. Okay, now it says that QR intersects plane T at point S. So that means it doesn't say it lies in the plane, so it's going to cut through it. So it's basically, we're going to take like we did before. Remember, I had my piece of paper, okay, and it's a plane, and all I do is I'm going to take a pencil and I poke it through, and that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the same thing here, where we can put, let's just label randomly a point right here, which is, we'll call it S. And we'll just have it so it's poking straight out, and because it's a solid line, it's going to be pointing out like my thumb going up out of the piece of paper, and then below we'll put it dashed. Okay, and then it goes solid again after we get down here, and we'll put it there, and then we just label any two random points on here. So let's call this one Q, and down here we'll call this one R. Okay, so again, this is a point of intersection within the plane. It doesn't say that it lies in the plane. It doesn't say that it's coplanar. It doesn't say that they're collinear. But that's the picture we're talking about here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the time up for you to go ahead and do the ones on your own, and then if you want to check your notes later for these two ones right here, again, given the information that you have here, again, your question 11 looks going to be somewhat similar to question number 10, and 12 is going to be like question number 9. But if you want to check the answers for these ones at a later point, you go ahead and go to the notes that I'm going to scan and put in there too for later. Okay, so go ahead and practice those. If you have any questions or concerns, just don't hesitate to email me or ask. Okay, let's go ahead and flip the page in now to page 4. Okay, and now we're going to do a lot of extra practice here. So I'm going to do these first 4 together with you in regards to the picture that we have here. Now, here we go. How many planes appear in this figure? Planes, okay, so we got flat surfaces that we got here. So let's go ahead and kind of label those. I'm going to mark them as we go here. So I'm going to say this side is a 1, this side is a 2. Going around this pyramid, there's a 3, and then the other side is 4, and we got 5, and then we have the bottom of this whole thing, which would be 6. So there's 6 planes that are labeled here. Does that make sense? Okay, the flat surface at the bottom of the pyramid, and then all the things around the pyramid. If we wanted to, we could label them as, let me see here, we can call it plane. The biggest one is, here we go, this thing here, which we call it plane X. Okay, then we can sit there and remember you have to identify with 3 things. So this one could be, we can go plane DFG, okay, which is this one right here. Okay, we can go, let's go the other one here, let's go J, H, and D. So each one of them have D because the top point is there if you want to. Then we can go plane, which is the second one we did here, which would be D, H, and G, which would be this one right here. We already identified 3. The other one is on the back side, which would be plane D, F, and E. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last one would be on the last side over here, which would be plane D, J, E. Okay, now remember how I labeled each one of those is with, and when you identify a plane, it has to be done with 3 different points to be able to do that. Okay, any questions about that part in regards to labeling planes? Then if there's a flat surface, we could have taken this one and taken any 3 points for X, and we could have done H, G, and L, as long as they all lie on the plane. M would not be, it would be the only letter that, or point we would not do, because it is hanging out here in space below the whole plane. Okay, so we can say it's below the TP or below the ground that we are in. Now next one, it says name 3 points that are collinear. That means they lie on the same line with that whole thing, and usually we want to identify them with at least 3 points. Okay, 3 points on there. So I can see one here, so I'm seeing right here where we have 3 points is just along this side right here, which you can sit there and say that point J, K, and D are all considered to be coplanar because they all lie on the same line. I don't think there's any other one over here. The only one I could think of that possibly could be with this one, but only identifies 2 points. Okay, again, we could have done J, H, G, but that wouldn't have worked because it's not on a straight line, and those are 2 separate ones. Okay, all right, now the intersection of planes. Okay, that means there's more than one. That means we're talking about H, DG, so it's H, DG, which is this one here. So plane number 2 is right here. Okay, and it intersects with plane X, which is the bottom floor of this one. So where do they intersect at? And we talked about this in part 1, is that when you have 2 planes that intersect, they intersect and make a line. So that line is going to be this H and G here. So we're going to sit there and say, where does it intersect at? We're going to go line H, G, okay, where that point is. Okay, and then number 16 states, at what point do LM and EF, so what point, that's a key thing here, so underline these things, what point do LM and EF intersect at? So LM is right here, okay, and where is EF at? EF is way over here, this dotted side over here. Hopefully you can see that in blue a little bit. Okay, do those 2 intersect? The answer is they do not intersect. Okay, so do not intersect. Okay, at some point. Okay, now I'm going to give this time to you, and then you can check your notes later if you want to on that whole thing. If you have any questions about 17, 18, 19, and 20, that is to be done on your own. And let's go ahead and turn to page number 5, which leads us to section 1.2, which I'm going to stop here at this point and save this and send it to you guys so you guys have access to it as well. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun doing this, and if you have any questions, you can always message me on Microsoft Teams or in email. All right, have a good day.